Hi, today I want to show you how you can integrate native contact functionality using Despia inside of your WeWeb application. If you want to turn your WeWeb application into a native application and you want all the native functionalities that make a native application truly native, you want to watch this video because today we're going to implement native contact access. So your WeWeb application PWA will be able to read all the contacts on your user's device, and you can then import them into the backend, into the application, and work with that. So let's get right started with that. So first of all, of course, you need to have a WeWeb project set up, and you want to have a Despia project set up. If you don't already have a Despia account, go into the video description down below and create one right now. It will definitely make that whole process smooth, seamless, and even possible, because you do need to have Despia's SDK to get that set up. So take a look in the video description. You can create your account in there for free. So now we want to have our WeWeb project and we want to get native contact access. And for that, we need to use the Despia SDK, which you can get more information about on docs.despia.com. We finally now have our revamped documentation, and we're already working on documentation only for WeWeb, because WeWeb has amazing functionalities and amazing features that we have tried to generalize for too long, where we tried to fit something that's vanilla JavaScript into WeWeb and told people to do it that way. But thanks to the wonderful help and the wonderful feedback that I've been getting from Roberto on X and Mariano on X, which are they are stars in the WeWeb community. They have been saving my butt many times when it came to writing the documentation and building this and understanding how WeWeb works, so I can make sure that the videos are correct that I'm doing, and that the documentation that we'll provide you is actually also correct for WeWeb. So both of them, go ahead, follow them on X. If you need help, they are more than qualified to help you with anything. They're amazing people. Like, if you want to get some of their advice, contact them. They're smart people, and without them, this video and this new documentation that we're working on wouldn't be possible. So with that being said, we want to not follow this lower part of our own documentation here, because there's a change, and this is actually making it way easier to work with it in WeWeb. So I want to make a video about this to show you how to implement this new feature with even an easier path. So let's go into the WeWeb editor here, and let's add a button. And just for those people that don't know what the native contact API is, it's if you click on read contacts, you can read the contacts that are on your device, and you can then get that data back into WeWeb, have that rendered into a list, and so on and so forth. Now let's close the application here on my device, so we can, if we open it, we're starting out with a blank application again. So let's close this, and I do have a blank application already set up here. So let's add a button to this, right? And I want to show you how you can set that up. So we now have a button, and let's call this allow contacts, because we need to allow contacts first. So for that, I'm going to add a workflow on this button, and you can run this on page load. You can make this part of your onboarding screen, right? Important is when you request contact access in your application, at some point before you actually read the contacts, you have to run a line of code to ask the user to allow your application to access their contacts. And you can do this programmatically. But let's add a new workflow here, and I'm going to call this workflow ask for contacts permission. There you go. And now I'm going to add a function of custom JavaScript, and I'm going to edit the code. And now in here, I'm going to go to our native contact documentation, and we're going to copy the code for request contact permission. Let's copy that here, and let's go back to WeWeb, and let's put this right inside of here. There you go. Now we have window.despia equals request contact permission, and we do this as a deep link. Let's close this here, and let's call this Despia SDK contact permission. There you go, contact permission. Fantastic, wonderful. So now I can close this, and now when we click on here, we're requesting the permission, which I already have in the application that I have open, so we're all fine with that. But you want to probably make this part of your onboarding flow. And the cool thing is, you know that they don't give you permission if the variable that you're running comes back with nothing in it. That means they don't have given you permission, and then you can ask for it again, right? So you can do some cool logic for that. Now let's add another button in here, right under here, and that will be get, or let's do this, fetch contacts. There you go. And now we're going to add a workflow on that button. I'm going to call this read contacts. There you go. And now I'm going to go on click, and I'm going to do a custom JavaScript. There you go. And I'm going to call this one let's do Despia SDK read contacts. There you go. And I'm going to edit the code. And now inside of here, we're going to make this code editor a little bit bigger because there's a little bit more that we have to do with it. So now inside of here, we have the ability, and this is our new documentation, our WeWeb documentation, how you can wait for asynchronous variable changes within WeWeb. So we have this template here which allows you to set this up with most of our asynchronous events. Besides in-app purchases, you can do variable, and you can define the variable that you're looking for, like contacts or anything else. And then we create a new promise, and we're doing promise resolve essentially. There's some timeout to this, so there's a fallback. And we're resolving the promise with the variable, and then this can be returned as the event coming from the block. So if we copy this, and we'll put the link for this page once it is fully set up for you, we'll put that code and that page also into the video description down below so you can copy the code. We're going to put this code inside of here, but before we run this code, we now need to actually read the contacts. So for that, we need to call the read contact function that Despia gives us, that is also going through a deep link. So we're going to copy this window.despia.com, window.despia, not despia.com. You can go to despia.com to sign up right now, but let's go to window.despia equals read contacts : // That's the deep link. And I know our naming is very creative. And let's go back in here and let's call this in here. This is calling the native Despia method. And then in here, we're just waiting for, in this case, we don't need to make it dynamic because we're already waiting for the context variable that Despia will inject. The variable that you're looking for context will be the context variable. But we will tell you which variable you'll be looking for based on the page of the documentation that you're in. So there you go. You have this now all set up. Very nice. And let's close this inside of here. And now we're getting this back. So the data that comes back from this workflow will be the event. So we can now update a variable, or we could, just run an alert if you want. So let's just update actually a variable so we can get this into a list. We can show this inside of our interface, right? So let's create a variable in WeWeb called contacts. And that variable will be an array. And we need to do a little bit with the context because we need to have it into a new format. I have a little sample function which I'll turn into a documentation page, and I'll put the whole documentation below this video. It will be a step-by-step article how to set everything up, so it will be very easy and nice for you to set up. And we'll have specific documentation on weweb.despia.com only for WeWeb and Despia, so we have it separated so you get only the things that you need if you're using WeWeb. So we will have specific documentation only for WeWeb, which is pretty nice. And we're still working on it though, but it will be coming very soon, and we will have this be the first page. But we need to run this function here to get it into the format that we want it to be. So let's copy this here, and let's go into this WeWeb project, and let's just copy this function here to format everything nicely. And what we want to do is, with this variable, we'll just leave the variable empty for now. But what we want to do is when we go back in here, once we have the variable, into this button logic here with read contacts, we need to format it. So when we set this variable, we want to format it so that it makes sense. Because Despia will give us a different format. It will give us a format looking like this, which is not a JSON array. So we need to take this and turn this into a JSON array. That is what WeWeb wants for you to be using to make it work accordingly. So what we want to do here is we just want to set the variable, or if you want to make it different, you can also just run a custom JavaScript. So I'm just actually going to do a custom JavaScript calling this, in case it needs to go multiple places, like also on your backend, right? So we do format Despia contact JSON, and I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to do this as a custom code block. I'm going to paste the code. Now the input here will come from the first action. So the first action result will give me this, right? And then we're going to go into, there you go, we're going to take this here, and then we are going to go, instead of doing a console log, we are going to return the result, right? So we're now returning the result. Fantastic. And then in here, we're going to set the variable. We're going to do change variable value. I'm going to select the variable that is contacts, replace all items with the data coming back from action 2, format Despia contact JSON. Fantastic. And then this one will be called update contacts variable. Fantastic. Okay, let's close this. And now here's what I want to do. I want to go to my data, and I need to put a sample variable inside of here. Now we're getting a key value pairs of, you know, of name and number. So I'm just going to do name colon John Doe, comma, number plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, fantastic. Okay, that's the number. There you go. So now we have this as a initial value, as a sample value. So we can just add a list inside of here. So let's add a list. And now we have a list. I'm not going to make it style and make it look fancy, but it's going to be very minimalist and simple. So let's duplicate this here, and let's go on the list item itself, and let's go on the repeat, and let's go inside of here on items, and let's clear this, everything that we have inside of here. And now we're just going to put our contacts variable right inside of here. We're going to drop it in, and then I'm going to click on this text, and I'm going to make this text dynamic. And I'm going to take item name, and I'm going to go here on the phone number, and I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to do item number. Fantastic. So now we have the name and the number, and it will update, you know. And let's publish this. Let's publish to WeWeb subdomain. Let's put some comment on our publishing. And now it should hopefully work, and yeah, we will be able to test this once the WeWeb application is updated. Now the nice thing about Despia is you don't need to republish it now on the Despia dashboard. You just publish it on WeWeb, and it will automatically then reflect all the changes in real time, you know, based on how Despia's rendering engine works with over-the-air updates and being able to remotely get your project file from WeWeb. So that's pretty cool and pretty neat. So let's take a look. I think it's already finishing up. That looks good. So we'll just wait a little bit more. I can already make sure that the existing application is closed. Yeah, which it is. Perfect. So we'll just wait a little bit. But yeah, and then you can also go into mobile view here and make it responsive, which we're not going to do today. It's just about the functionality. That's the important thing. Okay, let's see. Let's hope WeWeb is finishing up. No manifest icon defined. Installing dependencies, cached. Okay. Building project. Okay, now it's building the project. So in the meantime, oh, now it's done. Perfect. Fantastic. Let's open our application here. and I'm doing it from the widget because we do now have smart widgets in Despia. Let's allow context, which I already did. I would need to uninstall the application to allow it again. And now, as you can see, I can fetch context, and you see how we're now loading the contact data. I only allowed to share Apple's contact because I don't want to leak all my phone numbers in this video. But you see how we're getting now the native device data inside of here, so that works perfectly. So now that we know that it works, what I like to do is I like to clear the variable to just be an empty array. Fantastic. And then we're going to deploy it again. And we'll just do new. I like to set the sample value in the variable as a sample value initially, just so that I can do like the dot notation very simple and easy in WeWeb, and then I'll just remove it once I have it done, and I'll just edit it again whenever I need to, which makes it very simple to work with it. Now it's building my project in WeWeb again, and we will then see the empty list turning into the list with the native context. So now I updated the change in WeWeb. Super simple, just close the application, open it again, the update is done, and let's see, fetch contacts, and you see how it adds the native contacts into your application. You have them now in a WeWeb variable. You can take it from here, you can send it to Xan, or you can send it to Supabase, you can do with it whatever you want, and this is how you add native contact functionality into WeWeb thanks to Despia. And I would highly suggest you go to Despia, create your project. It's super simple. Just go and create project, link it with your WeWeb staging domain or final domain, whatever you want to do. And then you can start testing it on your device, on your real device, with Xcode and TestFlight. And Despia also lets you export the whole Xcode project and Android Studio project. So if you're an iOS developer or Android developer and you want to tune it even more, you can definitely do that. So yeah, it's the easiest way how you can build a mobile application in WeWeb. Take a look at Despia.com, and we got cool features from smart widgets to native contacts to in-app purchases to app clips and to shortcuts. Whatever you want to do, you can do it in Despia. So thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see all the exciting applications that you'll be building in WeWeb and Despia. Take care. Bye.